Welcome everyone. Yeah, no snow anymore. Just snowdrops. So spring is coming almost, and I just saw some of the early bloomers. So I thought I know that a lot of you love these flower tours. So let's do like a little piece of early spring and early spring in Rotterdam, where I am right now. Soon there will be a lot more flowers, of course, starting to bloom. It's the end of February, and we basically say the season of the blooming flowers is starting at the end of March or March 21st. Although, of course, you never know exactly. But welcome everyone that's joining early. I am in Rotterdam in a nice park nearby, one of the highest parts of Rotterdam, because just here through the trees you can see the famous, what we call the Euromast, the Euro Tower, the Euromast. Um, and this is one of the highlights, I would say, of Rotterdam. And it's of course also a quite beautiful park where we can see the first part of the spring coming. And Robin is asking, just let me already answer some questions. How far is Rotterdam from Amsterdam? It depends a little if you have the good train. I didn't have the good train today, so for me it was 50 minutes, 50. But if you have the fast train, it can be 35 minutes only. So it's quite fast. So it's not that far. By car, it is about 50 minutes to 1 hour in total. So it's nearby. Everything is nearby in the Netherlands. And now it's showing you some of the snowdrops. And I think I've told some of you before that we have a little different name in Dutch for it. We say that these flowers over here that we have, just going back a little, we're calling them sneeuwklokjes. Sneeuwklokjes. And sneeuwklokjes means snow is snow, and a clock is a clock. So it's snow clocks, if I would translate it exactly how we're saying that. So see the snow clocks, hear the chiming of the snow clocks in February in Rotterdam. So, and I'm also gonna end happy birthday there, people. So you can also now see me. So where I am right now, I'm in a park. I'm in the Euromast Park. The Euromast, you're just seeing that already a little from the back of me. So I'm just gonna show you here at the part. Here is the tower. And this tower, by the way, I mean, the tour is not officially starting yet. Just remind me of the time because I didn't know the time exactly. And I had already a long day here in Amsterdam doing several things that some of these can be will be added soon on TikTok and YouTube too, like with short movies. But I did earlier today a little more an art and architecture tour for for another company, so not for myself, but I thought like I'm in Rotterdam, so I can also do then, of course, a tour on my own YouTube. So I'm really looking forward to go and to show you some parts of the city, a city where I've been living myself almost 9 years. It's now 18 years ago that I left. Is it 18 years? Yeah, 2006, end of 2006, so 18 years ago, almost 19 that I left Rotterdam, but I still love this city. I still love this city, and it's so different from Amsterdam, and you will see that soon how different this is. So here's some people just at the back, like, what is this guy doing, talking to himself? So and Diane is saying, cheers from a chilly Florida. Okay, can you? Because it is spring over here. I mean, this today it was about in degrees Celsius. It was about 15 degrees Celsius. So that is in Fahrenheit about, I think about 65, something like that. So it felt like spring. So, and to be honest, this Wednesday I will fly to Orlando. So can you make sure that I get some good weather there? Because I love to have some sun and some better temperatures. So welcome everyone. Um, welcome everyone. So I see Susan. Hi Susan. Hi Sarah. Hi Natalie. Welcome. Welcome to East to the Netherlands. Hi Robin. Hi Laurie. Hi, Anna. Hi, Ronnie. Hi, what do we have more? So I see this. Hi, Satyam. Also welcome. Hi, Tariq. Hi, Susan. It's Laura. I think I said it already. Hi, Trisha. Also welcome. If I did not say your name, then of course I've still seen you. Hi, friend. Hi, DM. So no, it's good to have people from the eastern part of the Netherlands until the other side of the ocean, where it is still morning. So good morning to everyone from the US, and good afternoon to everyone. It is 5:30. It's almost 5:30 over here in Rotterdam. So sunset will be in 30 minutes from now. It was a little sunny day, but it is now getting a little more cloudy. Welcome to the Netherlands, but I think still we will have a beautiful tour, and I'm going to show you some of this amazing city over here. So, um, what is the time right now? Can someone help me? Like, do I have to start this tour already? My name is Stefan, by the way. If it is your first time, 5:30, 5:35, 5:35. So that means that I was already 5 minutes in this tour. Okay, let's start. Let's start. Okay, yeah, sorry, I forgot the time. I just had after a long day, I just had a drink, and I had a triple, and a triple beer. That's quite, the alcohol percentage is a little higher. I didn't eat a lot with it, so I'm a little under influence. Now, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone in Rotterdam. I'm gonna do a tour. It will be a tour where I'm going to show you several parts of this of this city. I've been living here for myself for about 9 years in total. And that is until 18 years ago. A lot has been changed since that time. A lot of new buildings, a lot of new places, but I still love this city. And we are gonna we're gonna see several parts. But because this city is a little bigger, and because uh, my account is called All Aboard Stefan's Bike. We're gonna do that on a bicycle, and I got one of these beautiful. I'm just gonna show you one of these. One is beautiful. Uh, what we call OV fietsen, so that's public transportation bicycles. So, um, let me change the screen and welcome everyone that's joining. So I have this beautiful bicycle over here, blue and yellow OV fiets is how we're calling it. And it's a very basic Dutch bike. I mean, look at the steering. We don't have handbrakes. There's only a little bell on the side. No handbrakes, nothing like that. There's also only one gear, so most of the things over here are flat. Although we're gonna go a little up today. Um, so one gear, no handbrakes. So how do we brake? It's like the old-fashioned way of just pedal back. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. So um, and I know that for a lot of people, this is how you're cycling as a kid, Robin. But for us, we're doing that our whole life. Okay, the thing is, I'm in the city of Rotterdam. I'm in a park, and this park is called the Euromast Park. And to be honest, this is here since the 1960s, and it has been part of uh, um, one of the festivals, the Floriade Festival. And the Floriade, I've been taking some of you 2 years ago to several times to Almere to see it over there. You can see people are still sitting outside because it's not 15 degrees Celsius anymore now. It's now maybe 10, but still, it's a lot warmer than the last day. So people are like, "Whoa, it's almost spring. We have to go outside. We have to enjoy our time outside because the spring is coming." Um, no, but it's um, so we are in Rotterdam, um, And Rotterdam is a little less famous than Amsterdam. And this park, I said already, part of the Floriade Horticultural Festival that is every 10 years in the Netherlands. To be honest, 2 years ago, I took you to Almere. That was the last time it happened. But in the 1960s, they had it over here in Rotterdam. And one of the things that they did is they built this tower and this park for it. So in this park, this was where the big exhibition was. Um, and they built the tower to attract more people for it. So it's interesting. Interesting what they did. And now the people of Rotterdam have this nice park, quite central in the city center. And it has a lot of art. You will also see on this tour a lot of art, a lot of older and also newer buildings. Um, but let's start maybe with a little bit of history of Rotterdam. So people know Amsterdam. A lot of people don't know a lot about Rotterdam, but Rotterdam is quite an old city. The first settlements were here already in the 13th century. And at the start of the 14th century, to be precise, in 1340, the city of Rotterdam got city rights. Got city rights. And Rotterdam is coming from three words. There are three words originally in the name. It's now Rotterdam, but originally it was Rotterdam. Rotterdam. Three different words. Rot, a, and dam. Now, for the dam, I think you sort of understand what that means. The dam. So they were building a dam over here, and they were building that dam in the Rotta. And what is the Rotta? Okay, rot. Think about the English rot, rotten. Okay, something that's not looking so fancy. That is the old Dutch word for rotting or also for muddy. And the word an a in Dutch, that was standing for a river. So or water. So it was the muddy water dam. So I'm welcoming you over here in the muddy water dam. And so they built a dam in that little river, in that muddy river, brown river, I assume it was. Um, and it is that's where the city started. And it was first a little city, part of the Dutch East Indies Company. It was growing bit by bit. It never in the 15th, 16th, 17th century never became so famous and important as Amsterdam. But yeah, there was a lot of trade here already because there's a river, there's a big river. There are some smaller rivers too. And so bit by bit, this city over here was growing, and it was a beautiful city, really a beautiful city. And nowadays, we cannot see a lot of this anymore. I will come back to it later. But we still have some parts of it. So, and you're welcome for the lesson about Rotterdam, the muddy water dam, or the dam in the muddy water. So, now we're now here in one of the oldest parts of Amsterdam because nowadays, over the river that we see here at the right side, there are several bridges. But these bridges are all from, let's say, the last hundred of years. Before that time, no, you didn't take a bridge to the other side, but you had to take a ferry. And over here, oh, sorry, over here we have a place that's called in Dutch the Veerhaven that that literally means the ferry harbor. The ferry harbor because since the 15th century there was over here a ferry, and that ferry was going from Rotterdam, from the north part where we are right now to the southern part, and one was um, one of the main ways to get from the northern part of the Netherlands into Brabant. Into Brabant, just south of the rivers. So over here in the Veerhaven, in the ferry harbor, there was a ferry that was going to the other side. Nowadays, it's still a quite beautiful harbor with a lot of older ships, older sailing ships that are laying over here. I mean, not from the 15th century. A lot of them are from the 19th or early 20th century, but still quite beautiful. So nowadays it's not, there's no ferry now here anymore. Although that's not completely right because we still have in Rotterdam what we call the watertaxi. The water taxi is one of the only cities in the world where we have not yellow cabs, but where we have yellow boats, yellow speedboats to go to the other side. So, yeah, this part of Rotterdam is also still where you can feel a little how it was in the 19th century, because most of the buildings over here are from the 19th century. Like, for example, over here, that's what they call the Atlantic House. And also at the left side, you see a lot more buildings here. On the side, all kind of these were the houses from the richer people that were living in Amsterdam, and these people were mainly becoming rich because of the harbor. So there were traders. There were traders getting their trade all over the world. And if you are doing a little more tours with me, then you know that when I'm talking about Amsterdam, I'm also talking about traders and merchants. And yeah, that there is a similarity. But the interesting thing is that Amsterdam was the big port, was the most important port, the rich place, mainly in the 17th and part of the 18th century. But what happened in the 18th century is that the ships were getting bigger and bigger. And the thing is that Amsterdam didn't have a lot of space, and also the entrance to the sea was not very good. So, but Rotterdam has this big river over here. It's only 20 miles, about 35 kilometers away from the sea, the big river. So there was a lot more space for all these bigger boats. So boats are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So bit by bit, Amsterdam became less important and Rotterdam became more and more important. So the city was growing, a very international city. People from it's you see that a lot of times with international places, and yeah, the city was growing, and nowadays it is the second city of the Netherlands. So Amsterdam is still the biggest, with about 920,000 people living in Amsterdam, and here in Rotterdam there are a little over 600,000 people living. And the city is basically built on two sides of the river that we see over here on the side. We're now in the northern part of Amsterdam, and at the other side, you see the southern part of Amsterdam. And I've been taking you a lot to all kind of Dutch cities. And if you look at how it's looking over here, it's like skyscrapers, high buildings, big roads, wide places, not like the all the cute little places that we have in Amsterdam, in Delft, in Gouda, in Leiden, and everything else. No, here it is something completely different. And to be honest, that has a reason. And that reason is a little a sad reason. In the meantime, I'm seeing that over here. I think the road is blocked, so I'm going a little the other way around. But here we have a nice view. Yeah. Uh, no, so Rotterdam became a beautiful city, a beautiful harbor city. In some ways. A beautiful harbor city, but growing and growing. And uh, the yeah, 19th century speed of driving was really very, very important. And then we had the start of World War II. So in 1940, the Nazis, Hitler and his Nazis, they were attacking the Netherlands. They were thinking, and Hitler was thinking like, oh, the Dutch, they didn't have a big army, so we can just get that country in one day only. Ah, that wasn't working that well. So that one day, there was a second day, and then a third day, and then still they were fighting, and we were still resisting. I mean, yes, we had a very tiny army in comparison to the Nazis. But yeah, we were fighting for our country, for our lives. And then Hitler said, like, okay, this is taking us too long. So what he did, he was doing what they now call a sort of a blitzkrieg, like an attack to overwhelm us, to completely overthrow us. And what he did is he was sending a lot of it's a little busy over here. Okay, this is the traffic. It's of course rush hour right now. Okay, thank you. Some of these cars are too big for the Dutch roads. No, but he said like, okay, it's taking too long, so we have to hit them very hard. And how was he? Dankjewel. How was he hitting them very hard? Hitting us very hard is by just sorry, there's a little. There's not a lot of space that these cars are giving me. I mean, this is the bike lane. They're partly on the bike lane. It should not be allowed, but okay. Welcome on a virtual tour on the bike lane. Um, no, he wanted to hit us hard. So what he did is he was sending all his bombers to the city of Rotterdam to bomb the city. And you may be wondering, okay, why Rotterdam? Why not Amsterdam? That was mainly because Rotterdam, with a big harbor, economically very powerful. So he thought like, okay, if I'm attacking the city of Rotterdam, then most probably they will give up. And yeah, the bombs were falling over here May 14th, 1940. And to be honest, he was in the end Hitler was right. So we gave up. We gave up because what he said, like, okay, after Rotterdam, if you don't surrender, then the coming days we will also bomb Amsterdam, Utrecht, and The Hague. So the other three big cities in the Netherlands. So we gave up, but still, the city of Rotterdam was completely destroyed. Partly by the bombs, but even more by the big fires that were starting shortly after, and these big city fires that burned down almost the complete city center of Rotterdam. So after World War II, this city over here that did not have a heart. That's what we call Rotterdam did not have a heart. We lost our heart by the bombings of the Nazis, and we're now going over the bridge. By the way, I have to go up, so maybe I'm losing my breath a little because I have to go 25 meters up. So that is about 75 feet in total to go to the other side. Um, yeah, so we surrendered, and then after World War II, after 1945, we had completely to rebuild this city. So the city of Rotterdam started the local government, together with some city planners, with some architects, to completely redesign the city. And of course, they were following the uh, they were following the ideas of the 1950s, 1960s. And in the 1950s, 1960s, it was also the moment that in the Netherlands, the car became more and more popular. So what happened is that the new city of Rotterdam was completely designed for the car. Wide lanes, enough parking spots everywhere, just to make sure that you could go everywhere by car. So in comparison to all the other Dutch cities that were not made for cars, this city is made for cars. So sorry, now starting to lose my breath a little. Going up, or going by the way over the Erasmus brug, the Erasmus bridge, the icon. I can say the icon of Amsterdam. I'm here on the bike lane, as you can see. Even in this city of cars, still the still the bike is quite uh, it's used a lot. It's still Dutch, of course. So no, so we had to rebuild the city completely, and that was done bit by bit. First in the 50s and the 60s. So and after that, that kept on going. So nowadays, Rotterdam is quite famous as a city of modern architecture. Modern architecture, like for example, the buildings, like the bridge where we're going over from 1996, but also the buildings we see here at the right side. So I'm now going down so that's easy. So we have at the right the blocks over there. Some people are saying this is just an architect's kid that was playing with his wooden blocks, but it was from Rem Koolhaas, the most famous Dutch architect. And then next to it, we have another building from the Italian architect Renzo Piano, beautiful name, Renzo Piano, and he designed this tilted building over here for the Dutch telecom providers KPN. And the interesting thing is that you can see that on the windows there are all these dots, and all these dots they can get every color you want. Originally they were, by the way, only green, but now they have every color you want. And this is the biggest advertisement that we have in the Netherlands. So, okay, I'm going. I just you sometimes don't want to see how I'm going through the traffic, but we're going to over here. We have still the Erasmus Bridge. By the way, this bridge costed us 165 million euros. So that's $170 million. And for that time, finished in 1996, and it was almost three times more than expected or than what we hoped. That's of course a lot with these kind of things. So a lot of Rotterdammers, also when I lived over here, that was early 2000s, a lot of Rotterdammers were very grumpy about this. But yeah, the bridge costed a lot of money, and also when they opened the bridge, the first 2 years there were a lot of issues. They made some mistakes. So what happened is that with some of the winds, the bridge literally started to swing. So it was the swinging bridge of Amsterdam. Also going to the southern part of Rotterdam. Sorry, the swinging bridge of Rotterdam, not Amsterdam. Also going to the southern part of Rotterdam, that was quite famous for all the ladies of pleasure. So, the swinging was an interesting thing over here. No, that was the first 2 years, but after two years they fixed that. And since that time, if you're now coming in Rotterdam, people all love this bridge. Yeah, of course, it costs a lot of money, but look at that. It's the icon of the city. It is so beautiful, so nicely done. A little looking like the famous Spanish architect Calatrava. Um, uh, so this is from, by the way, a Dutch architect named Ben van Berkel. He designed this. He designed this. The pillar in the middle is about 140 meters high, so that's almost feet high. For a long time, it was one of the higher parts of the city. But nowadays, you can see at the other side there are some skyscrapers that are even higher. So, and because of the skyscrapers and the higher buildings that we see over here, that is why some people are calling in Netherlands, we're calling Rotterdam Manhattan aan de Maas. And Manhattan aan de Maas, Manhattan, of course, New York, and then the Maas, that is the name in Dutch of this river, of the Meuse River. So the big river that's going, and if we're going the other side, all the way to the sea, to the North Sea. So we have to go that way for it. And nowadays, most of the big harbors originally were in the city center of Rotterdam, but nowadays they are all they're all more to the seaside over there. So the big ships will not come here anymore. Yeah, some bigger ones, but most of the big ones just stay at that side. So, and I'm now really in the harbor. Look, Canada, Canadian. So we have a lot of relationships with that. We see at the other side where we started next to that tower. So imagine in 25 minutes, we already cycled all the way from over there to the other side of the river with a beautiful view like this over Amsterdam. So, and why am I going over here to the other side? Not only to show some of the more newer buildings that we have over here, um, but also because there is a quite important building for the history of Rotterdam and the history of the Netherlands over here. And that is the building that we now see in front of us, now surrounded by skyscrapers. But this is the building that's called nowadays Hotel New York. And Hotel New York was the place where the Holland America line, you can see the name still on the top, the Holland American line started. And what was the Holland America line? That was the place or the company that was having several huge ships to for migration from Europe to the US. So a lot of Dutch people in at the end of the 19th century and start of the 20th century, let's say the time um, of the depression, for example, we're thinking we don't want to live in the Netherlands anymore. Shortly after World War One, we want to go for some new things, and we want to go to America, the new country. So, and they were going over here. We're taking a one-way ticket on the Holland America line, and then started a new life in the US. So that was all from the building that we see over here. And just to give you an idea, we don't only have Canada, but for example, over here we have LA. Okay, even people are going to Los Angeles. And then a little further away, by the way, Catherine is over there. Just Catherine, wave at us. She is on her own orange Dutch bike over there. She's following me. And then over there we have Utah. So people are going to Utah, but literally all over the US. And this happened for for a long period until even the 1960s. And after the 1960s, more and more of these big ships were used for cruises. So, and still nowadays, maybe if some of you have done a cruise or heard about the cruising, you still have the Holland America line or HAL. And HAL was originally started over here in this building. It's nowadays, I think, part of the Carnival Cruise Company. So, but if you come to Rotterdam, recommend you to, I can really recommend you uh, to come over here, to come to this place. It is not only a hotel, but also they have a quite beautiful restaurant over here. There's a restaurant called Hotel New York also, and they have one of the best places. If you like fish, then this is the place in Rotterdam to go to. And of course, you can do that by bike, you can do that by car, or you can do that on the Rotterdam way with our taxis. So I said already before, we have several yellow boats over here. So okay, again, some connections with New York because the Holland America line was going from Rotterdam over here and it ended in New Jersey, um, nearby Manhattan. So there are a lot of, and yeah, then over here, look at this little yellow boat you see on the side. It's taxi. This is the fast taxi. Hi, this is the fast taxi that you can take all over Rotterdam. So it's a nice way. And then at the other side, you see there's looks like a big slide, and that is, by the way, a platform from a new museum that's called the Migration Museum, because Rotterdam is really a city of where people from 100, almost 180 different countries from the world are living over here, Harbor City, and they will open this in May later this year. So, uh, and look at that. So this is also, we have now a little view over the one of the harbors, one of the older harbors. Nowadays, not so much in use anymore as a harbor, but what they did recently with some of the old places for um, where all the warehouses and places for storage, they're starting to uh, use it or reuse it as apartment buildings. So, for example, here over here at the other side, there is uh, a big originally grain warehouse. So they were adding or placing grain in there, and it's now used or partly, not completely yet, but partly used for beautiful apartments. And then there's also some floating places over here. Look here in the middle. We have a floating house. I mean, I think this is the future. If you're living in a country like the Netherlands that's under sea level with the oceans are rising, so maybe this is what we have to do soon for more than just this office building. This, by the way, a building of the United Nations. So, but I can also show you that there is a little more because there are also tiny houses also floating here in the water. And no, we're not in Thailand. We're just in the Netherlands in Rotterdam. Um, but look over here on the side. You have these tiny houses over here floating in the water. Really beautiful. So this is a tiny hotel. So you can rent these rooms as like floating houses in the harbor over here. And then we have all these beautiful, some are new, some are older. And then here on the side, there's still a lot in development. Here on the side, they're gonna build five new skyscrapers from over 200 meters high. So that's about 600 feet plus. That's for the Dutch, quite high. I know if you're from New York, that's still nothing. But and what they're also gonna do is here on the side, and that will most probably open already next year, or the end of next year, they will open a city beach for Rotterdam. So, okay, I'm just showing you some different things, and I love this place that it's so much modern, but at the same time also the old history. So, again, the beautiful blocks of Rem Koolhaas, the building of Renzo Piano, and then over here we have the biggest theater of Rotterdam. So if you want to go to the theater, then this is the place to go to. Also in the what we call the areas. They are called the Kop van Zuid, and that is basically the head of South, if I would translate it exactly. The head of South, all new developments from mainly the last 30 years, but it is a combination. It's a combination of these old warehouses with a lot of modern architecture. Modern but beautiful. Thank you. That's exactly how I'm thinking about this. So I have to check a little uh, because we're going back to the other side of the river. So I have to go up again. I have to go up again. At the same time, you can also see all these people on bicycles. So it is rush hour. So I have to be a little careful with that because it's rush hour and Dutch people, they're always fast on bicycles. And okay, let's go. The trams, the high buildings, but also you can see over here 4 lanes of cars next to each other. There's only one city in the Netherlands where you can find that, and that is Rotterdam. Okay, we're going to the other side again, and now while it's getting dark, you see more and more of the lights starting to turn on. So, and then we go under the Erasmus bridge again. And now I want to show you a little more the right side. So here on the right side, you see there's another bridge, and that's the old bridge that was used by the train. The trains were going through Rotterdam over this bridge, but nowadays not in use anymore. And then we have here in the middle part, you see there's water at the right. I can tell you already there's also water at the left. This is what we call the Northern Island. The Northern Island, almost Rotterdam North. And this is literally the island that is inside the city, in the Maas River, in the Meuse River. And several of the buildings over there survived the bombings. And to be honest, I sometimes thought about my one grandma. I didn't tell a lot about my other grandma, but my other grandma, she was living over here at the start of World War II. So in 1940, May 1940, when the bombs were falling, she was living over there with her family on the island, was sheltering on the island, and left this place several weeks after the city was completely destroyed. So I have some ties over here. And then we're going out back from north to south again. North, Rotterdam is originally a little more the area where uh, like the super neighborhoods are, more like labor neighborhoods. And southern Rotterdam is a little more the richer part of the city. So You see the beautiful skyline also at this side. And I said already before, for the Netherlands is quite unique. One, because this was place, the only place in the Netherlands where there was space to build all these high buildings. And the second thing is that a lot of other cities were really doubting, should we have all these high buildings? Because we're basically not, we have not very stable ground over here. It's not that we have earthquakes, no, don't worry about that. But it's more that the ground over here, the soil over here is a little swampy, so not very stable. So only in the last, let's say 20, 25 years, we now use more modern techniques so that we can build skyscrapers like this. And this is, by the way, at this moment, the highest one in Rotterdam. But we just kind of think it's always temporarily because in some years from now, they're now building already a new one that will be finished in 2 to 3 years from now. And that will be a lot higher. This one is a little over 200 meters high, and the new one will be almost 300 meters high, so 1.5 times higher. But we have so much more. Also, look at the hotel that we have over here with the overhanging part on the top. Always, that's by the way, you can have conferences over there. Imagine windows on the side. You have a beautiful view over the city. Well, there's nothing. Where are you? You can see in the meantime. It's getting dark. If there are any questions, by the way, I was just talking because I want to show so much. But if there are questions, just feel free, of course, to tell me because yeah, I've been living here for almost 9 years, so I know the city quite well, and I also love to take you around over here. And friend, yeah, some of the buildings, some of the views are amazing, yes, for sure. And I can also imagine if you're living in one of the higher buildings over there, that it's also really nice. So it's the three colors buildings over there on the side. We're now passing, by the way, the metro station. So there is a metro under here, the oldest metro in the Netherlands. The metro started in Rotterdam before Amsterdam. There's always a little of a competition between the two biggest cities. So, and then here at the right side, we are in one of the other old harbors. So earlier we had the ferry harbor, the Veerhaven, and over here we have the Leuvenhaven. And the Leuvenhaven is also an old harbor, not in use anymore, because all the activity is now outside of the city. So what they did in the 1980s, they built the Maritime Museum. That's the building here at the end in front of us. And next to the Maritime Museum, they placed all kind of old boats, ships, but also cranes and everything that are related to the maritime history of Rotterdam next to this building. So I'm now just going down just to give you an idea. So it's showing people a part of it is open air, and it's showing you how big all these machines were. Already some from the 18th or 19th century, big cranes. The crane over here. Oh, this is also interesting to look at this crane from start of the 19th century. If I'm looking at this crane, I'm seeing a face in there. See the two little windows, and there's like a mouth under it. But this crane was, for example, used to get some animals on a boat. So over here, there's now a horse. Of course, it's a statue of a horse. But it's beautiful that they placed that over here. And it's not the only one. So there are several other ones next to it. So just a little more modern. 1950s, the crane over here, also not in use anymore. Nowadays, they're a lot bigger, but they just have it as a open exhibition for everyone in Rotterdam. But it's not only these cranes, they're also here on the side. I'm just gonna you have to be a little careful here because there are more people. So, but here on the right side, yeah, you can go. Here on the right side, you have a lot of the old ships, all kind of types of ships. from bigger ones to, by the way, look at this one. This is a very cute one. This can be in Amsterdam in the canal. The other ones are all too big for it. So, but all types of boats and vessels that were used in the old times in the city of Rotterdam, on the water, on the river, in the sea sometimes. So it is quite a nice place to go to if you love ships, if you love naval history, then this is the place to go to. So also look at the ones over here, beautiful ships here on both sides. Just going. And I said already before, uh, a lot of people want to have our yellow cabs, the yellow water taxis we have over here in front of us one. And we're now going up again. Oh, this is steep. I only have one gear. Ah, I'm working on my condition while doing this tour with all of you. Okay. Ooh. And then also, I love the place over here. Look at the ship over here on the side. This is a floating lighthouse. Nowadays, bar and restaurants, but originally this was laying somewhere on the coast of Rotterdam as a lighthouse to navigate, as we of course use as navigation for the ships that wanted to come inside. So really nice that they are using it over here. So in the meantime, I'm just now going the other side. So we see more of the new developments. And when I'm saying new developments, then I'm talking about developments between, let's say, the 1950s, like the building here on the right side is more like end of the 1950s building, to very modern ones from literally the last years. Then again, oh, there's the green light, so I have to try to get to the other side because I want to go to the other side. Woo! I hope you like it, by the way, to be on the bike. I mean, I'm not doing that too often, but sometimes, going here to the right, I'm feeling a little British on the wrong side of the road. No, but it's a two-way bike lane. So no, but here you can also see on the right side there's big roads, and that was all in the 1950s, 1960s that they replanned the city and decided, okay, this is a city for cars. And you can see that mainly over here because this is the heart of the city center. Oh, just orange. Oh, if you didn't see that, we didn't see that. It was almost red. Exactly. Whee! Okay. So some more to see. Let's look at the time. Oh, I still have time. There's more to see. And really, if I on by foot, I couldn't have shown you so much. So, but I want to take you to another part where we have modern architecture and modern architecture from the 1980s. So, of course, in the 1980s, that was very modern. Nowadays, we would say, like, okay, it's different. And I'm here on an area that's called Blaak. And Blaak is built, or there's a lot of open space over here. And that open space is because under here, oh, there's a little stairs over here. So we're going to do some action. We took the stairs now by the bike. That should not be the case. I didn't know that. No, but there's over here, there's a big open space, as you can see. There are no buildings in the way. And that's because the train tracks are under here. Originally, the train tracks were above ground. That's also where the earlier we were seeing earlier that um, the train bridge, it was going over there and also over here. But in the 1980s, 1990s, they decided we want the train underground. So since that time, it is underground, but we're still not allowed to build, or we're still not allowed to build any buildings on top. And then over here, this is this church over here. This was one of the only things that survived the bombings. It's called the Laurenskerk or the Lawrence Church. Quite a famous church nowadays. It was one of the only buildings surviving the bombings, and to be honest, it already missed its stop. So it's not that it partly was lost during the bombings. No, it really survived it. So, but there's more modern architecture, and that's going back to the 1980s. And it was a time when Stefan was still a baby and a little boy, and then they decided to build this new library over here on my left side now for you in front. This is the Library of Rotterdam, and it was heavily inspired by a famous building in Paris. And for that, I have to go to the side. Then you see, I think, a little better what I mean. So we're going here to the side, and on the side we see that there are all these all kind of things outside, like the big pipes on the side for uh, to have all the air flowing inside the building. This was over here. This was over here, inspired by the. Um, and let's see if some of you know it. By the way, I'm just giving you some time. What do you think? It's a building in Paris. But guess what building in Paris was the inspiration for this building? So, um, and now I never got inside this one. So while you can think about an answer, I also want to show you the next building. This was designed in the same 80s by Piet Blom. Piet Blom. Blom is from Blooming, by the way, Piet Blom. And he designed this building, and it has the Rotterdammers are calling it the pencil because it's like a big pencil that's standing over here on the bike. And Barbara, it's not the Louvre, and Catherine, you're right. The Centre Pompidou, the Modern Art Museum in Paris. That was the inspiration. That was the inspiration for the architects at that moment. And yes, yeah. But let's go to this to the next building. We have this pencil building over here, and the same architect also designed these amazing buildings here on the side, more famous or called the cube houses. The cube houses. And to be honest, there are two parts, there are two places in the Netherlands where we have these cube houses. One of them is over here in Rotterdam, the yellow version. And there's also you can also go to another Dutch city named Helmond. And in Helmond there is a green brown version of these houses. So they finished it, or Piet Blom, he made this design for these very specific houses. And you really have to imagine that Rotterdam was sort of the playground for a lot of architects. So all kind of projects that could not be in other parts of the country. I mean, Amsterdam was saying like, yeah, no, we don't want these type of houses because we have our beautiful 17th and 18th century buildings. So we're not gonna have this modern architecture. But Rotterdam, there was nothing. So architects could do their thing. And Big Blom had this amazing idea. Originally, the plan was to have 60 of these houses. Nowadays, they're not 60, but still several ones as a nice little neighborhood. And there are 28, as far as I know, 28 buildings, 28 houses. Every house is about 100 square feet. So that's about sorry, 100 square meters, about 1,000 square feet. And but yeah, if you have this 100 square meters, you have to say that from your house you can only use 75% because 75% of your house has walls that are so tilted that you cannot use it, or it's so low, for example. And also, if you're living over here, uh, really need to make a lot of your furniture by hand because you cannot just go to the IKEA and say like, okay, I want a new closet. No, that will not fit because all your walls are extremely tilted, as you can see. So, but yeah, there are people living over here, and to be honest, I checked the prices of these houses not so long ago, and the price for a house if you want to live here is quite similar to a normal house in the Netherlands. So from the same size. So it's not what you would maybe expect because it's so unique that it's a lot more expensive. But no, it's about the same price. But you're, of course, then living in a unique place. If you do not want to live in Rotterdam, I can imagine that, then there's still an option. One of these places, to be honest, here on the right side, is like nowadays a museum. And if you're staying longer, also there are two ones that are a little bigger, and in the big or the mega cubes, as we call them, you can also stay over there because there's a hostel now over there. Okay, you have 5 other people on the same room, or maybe even more than that, but you can stay in a cube house. So, and Susan, yeah, I only had one beer, but even after one beer, it's not looking straight. It was a strong one. It was a strong one. So okay, let's go down again. And Natalie's asking how many are there now? There are about 30 in total here in Amsterdam, in Rotterdam, and in Helmond there are about 25. So you can also go to Helmond. I mean, it's a little less famous city in the Netherlands, somewhere in Brabant. You have to take the ferry first to the other side of the river. Um, and that is, but yeah, they are quite unique. They're quite unique. But if you're coming over here, of course, you have to take the stairs up, but you can have a nice, yeah, you have a sort of a museum. So, okay, we're going down again. Let's see, look at the time. Do you want me to show you some more? Because there is some more that I can show. Let's do that. Let's do that because there's another beautiful building at the other side. So we're going from the 1980s. These were all buildings from the 1980s. We're now getting to uh, modern times. So here at the other side, there is a building, what we call the Markthal, the Market Hall, the inside Market Hall. And this is a quite unique building. It's designed by a company or an architecture firm from Delft called MVDRV. So yeah, they always have these kind of names. Um, and it is an interesting thing because it is a market hall in the middle, but on both sides, you can see in the side of the market hall, these are apartments. There are about 220 apartments built on both sides. And in the middle part, there is the market, the indoor market. And under here, there's also the biggest parking garage for cars, not for bikes this time, for cars in Rotterdam. There are about 1,200 in total. And they place nowadays, by the way, a beautiful heart on the side. So I just want to take you for maybe 1 minute inside to give a little feeling because it is impressive to see it inside. So, because the inside is sometimes called, yeah, we have the bridge before was called the Swan. We had the just had the cube houses, but over here inside, some people are calling this the 16 Chapel of Rotterdam, and I'm gonna show you why they're calling it like that. Okay, just coming inside. So look over here on the top. On the top, there is a sort of like an immense fresco. Of course, we're not in the time of the frescoes anymore, but um, the artists who made this, what they did is they were heavily inspired by these old paintings from Rome mainly. So it is like a giant fresco, and they are showing over here the horn of plenty, the horn of plenty. And what is in the horn of plenty? Vegetables, fruits, animals, all kind of things that you want to eat. So um, and of course, if you want to eat, there are over here so many places where you can have, okay, yogurt ice. I see Punjabi food, Indian food. I see Indonesian food. I see Dutch food. I see fries, all that kind of things. And then still the interesting thing is that if you're looking a little better on the side of the painting, by the way, they they made a painting and it's in total 11,000 square meters. So they were needing the help of Pixar to completely realize this. So to make it so big that they could paint it on the side, paint and print. Now it was not painted; it was printed. And you can still see a lot of the windows from the people that are living over there. So they can just look out their window like, okay, how busy is it on the market? Am I going for food over there or not? And by the way, if you're inside these houses, you're hearing nothing. You're hearing nothing. So, okay, quite cool, isn't it? So, just the market hall over here. Let's go outside again because there's more to see. Okay, let's open it. Yes, there we go. Let's get my bike again. By the way, here at the right side, you see there a UFO just landed. That is the black station. So I said already, the trains are coming under the trains are coming under here. So you can just take the train over here, and in about 15 minutes from now, you will be in Amsterdam, if you want. So okay, hello, hi, 7 seconds of fame. So okay, let's go. I want to show you a little bit more because it's now getting dark and it's even more looking magical. Look at this. Look how beautiful it is. Mm, See the market going back and all. And then, of course, we have church over there. Let me take you a little more into Rotterdam. This is, by the way, also the heart and nearby the shopping center. So that is around this area. You see they're getting the stuff to build up the Saturday market. If you're coming back here tomorrow morning, there is the big Saturday market. So you have a market inside and also outside. And that's one of the biggest markets in the Netherlands. All just on top on the roof of the train tracks. That's good to know. Although you don't see anything from that. Okay, so I'm just gonna take you over here at the side. We have the beautiful. Let's just do a little detour. The Laurenskerk, Lawrence Church, and one of the things of Rotterdam, what I love really a lot, is that you have these old architecture, these old buildings, and then newer ones. And okay, here's a by the way, place where you can pee. So it's just coming out of the ground at the evenings. Of course, it's Friday evening, so more people are coming over here to party, to go to the cafes and bars. So they have uh, toilets, places to pee that are just coming out of the ground. Okay, here's the front part of the church. And as I said already before, it has always been missing the top. That has nothing to do with bombings, just by they were running out of money when they were building this. Okay. Sorry, just there's water here on the side. I'm now gonna take you to there are two other buildings in this area that also survived the bombings. And the interesting thing is that all these buildings were the bigger, heavier buildings. So, like, of course, a church is quite heavy in comparison to all the houses. Think about the walls, and that is also the reason why the church survived, even when there were bombs nearby. And of course, it was damaged, even heavily damaged, but still the walls were thick enough to survive. Hey, now Ronnie is saying uh, that one of the most famous designers, she's not there anymore. Would have loved to design here. Yeah, and that's I said already before. For a lot of architects, it's their playground. So a lot of famous Dutch architects like Rem Koolhaas from OMA, but also Ben van Berkel and several other ones. Uh, Francine Huben. They all have their buildings over here. Renzo Piano was talking already about it before. I'm now going, by the way, through a street that's called the Mains, and that is quite famous for all the restaurants and bars over here. So, and today, I said it already earlier today, it was 15 degrees. It's now colder, but still people are sitting outside. There's some heating from the top. So, okay, and then old, sorry, old meets new. So here on the side is the second building that survived the bombings. That's the old post office. the old post office. We can see it over here. And recently, what they did is they decided that there is some modern building literally built on top. So the post office in the middle, nowadays not used as a post office anymore. And then there are modern apartments just built on top of it. So how you can morph, or how you can combine new and old. So I mean, I loved already the old building, but now there's a quite interesting new building. And even the McDonald's, I mean, all over the world, most of the time it's in the most ugly buildings you can think of, not in Rotterdam. In Rotterdam, they have a fully designed glass type of building, and that is just for the McDonald's. Okay, it's quite interesting to see what they can make. I have to go. Hi. I'm going to the other side to show you a little more. Yes, it is. I'm Dutch. I'm Dutch, man. So, okay, I'm going to the other side. Oh no, not yet, not yet. I was thinking I'm going to the other side, but not yet, not yet. So again, some roads over here. The interesting thing is, by the way, that when I was living in Amsterdam, in Rotterdam. By that time, there were over here 2 lanes on both sides, or even 3 lanes on one side, the other side 2 lanes. And now they brought it back to have just 1 and sometimes 2 lanes for cars. Yeah, friend, it's a quite beautiful McDonald's. I mean, I'm still not a fan of the products that they're selling, but yeah, the building itself is quite beautiful. So okay, let's see. It's green now, so I have to go to the other side. The tram is here in the middle. Woo. And then we have the bike lanes over here. Look also at the size of the bike lanes. This is showing how much even Rotterdam, designed for cars, is now getting more and more a city for bicycles. And then here on the right side, we have the City Hall of Rotterdam. I have to be a little careful because I have some people behind me. But this is the City Hall of Rotterdam. I said already 3 buildings that survived. This is the third one. And the interesting thing is, and I don't think I've been telling this to a lot of people, but at the moment that I was living in Rotterdam, and that was, I'm talking about 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, that area, that period, I was working over here in the city hall. So I was working, and to be precise, I was working in the wing that we see over here. So just at the first level over there, I had an office over there. And you may be wondering, like, Stefan, how is that possible? Because here in the middle part, there's the office of the mayor. I was working very nearby the mayor and very nearby all the aldermen. And that was because at that time I was still studying. I was working for 4 years for the Labour Party in Rotterdam. So that's why I was a lot, so 2 to 3 times a week in this building to help them. So okay, oh, the tram is coming. Don't. So that's also one of the reasons why I still love it. And the interesting thing, by the way, is that I said already it survived the bombings. It's now already dark, but during daytime you can still see that several holes there are in the walls from bombs, from bullets, etc. So it is really a building. And of course, nowadays you see the Dutch flag on top, and then at the left side there's another flag that is green, white, green. That is the Rotterdam flag. So I'm always when I'm coming over here, I'm a little proud that I used to work over here. Okay, and then at the other side of the city hall, you have immediately the shopping district. And this was a shopping district that was designed in the 90s. No, it's Rotterdam. Uh, that was designed in the 1950s as a new, very modern shopping center. And this was the first shopping center, by the way, worldwide that was designed without cars. So the city was designed for all the cars, but the shopping center was the opposite. So you just had outside, so not inside the shopping mall, but outside, all these shops and everything um, where you could go to. So it was for that time really something unique. So I'm starting to almost lose my voice after after all the talking. So that means it is also more than an hour now going to Amsterdam to Rotterdam. I really enjoy to have so many of you over here today with me. So it's for me time to get a drink and maybe also some food. So I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did like it, I think I have soon another tour. To be precise, tomorrow I'm gonna be the most I'm gonna do the most touristy thing ever, because what I'm gonna do is in Amsterdam, and I've never been in there, so it will be the first time for myself. But I'm gonna sit inside the hop on hop off bus, and we're gonna see Amsterdam on the hop on hop off bus. So let's see. Let's see. So I'm really looking forward to that. So if you like Rotterdam, tomorrow Amsterdam, hop on, hop off. I don't know what we're gonna see. If you like that, hope to see you tomorrow again. Thank you also for people that are buying a coffee, because that is the way how I can keep on doing these tours. So tomorrow Amsterdam, and then next week somewhere I will fly to Orlando. I'm not for holiday, sadly enough. No, I'm flying to Orlando for a big conference. And if I'm in Orlando, I'm trying to do at least one of these days a tour. So I don't know exactly yet, but I have to find out the last details. But I'm thinking about taking you to Epcot, so one of the Disney parks. So, but I'm finalizing the details for that. So, thank you. I hope to see you on the bus tomorrow. And if not, then on one of the other tours, because there's a lot more to come. And in a month from now, tulip season is over there again. So, bye bye. See you later.